The Agriculture Minister addressing concerns over BAMSI contracts. We'll bring you all the details, so stay tuned.
A Grand Bahama businessman facing a number of weapons charges. And an investigation ongoing into that murder in the inner city. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Keishla Adderley. Thanks so much for joining us. Topping the news tonight, the government is investing millions of dollars into the nation's healthcare system as it continues phase 1 of a comprehensive health system strengthening initiative. Today, officials took an additional step designed to take the country's public healthcare system to the next level. Now, Cleopatra Murphy has more.
Government will spend approximately $43 million to buy new equipment, make upgrades, and hire new staff at the Princess Margaret Hospital, Rand Memorial Hospital, and clinics throughout the country. All of this is in preparation for the increased demand for service expected with the introduction of national health insurance. Last month, health officials announced upgrades, inclusive of a new maternity and accident and emergency ward at PMH, new ambulances, and staff hires. Tuesday, health officials and officials from MedX LLC and local vendor Ports International Limited signed a $7,576,062.50 contract to facilitate significant upgrades at the radiology and imaging departments in public hospitals. Health Minister, the Honorable Dr. Perry Gomez, highlights the significance.
With the agreement we now formalize today, we will allow for the replacement of the present analog equipment and put in place state-of-the-art digital equipment, resulting in greater efficiency and easy access to patient records at our public hospitals.
The agreement includes the purchase of 2 CT scan machines, 2 MRI machines, 4 mobile X-ray units, 4 digital radiography systems, and other equipment Gomez says will allow for the digitalization of both public health facilities and leapfrog the imaging departments into the 21st century. The minister says the new equipment also positions the PHA to meet the needs of the public until the next generation of equipment is produced.
The fundamental thing about NHI is providing equity in our population in healthcare. Because, as you know now, if you have the resources, you can get the best care. If you don't have the resources, then you goose cook, to use that phrase. So having these facilities in the public domain, in the public institutions, enables the poor to be serviced just like the wealthy.
Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, commended officials on recognizing the importance of diagnostic equipment. He says proper diagnostics is the backbone of delivering quality health care.
I'm excited for where we have come from and what we have accomplished in healthcare in Grand Bahama, and we are working diligently to build our public healthcare system that not only meets today's needs, but is capable of improving the health for our nation for generations to come.
Managing Director of the Public Hospitals Authority, Herbert Brown, says the investment will allow the PHA to align health facilities in a way they have never been before.
There is significant upgrades with respect, not only with the physical infrastructure, but in terms of investing in human capacity. That is going to be a major part of what we're doing.
Tender for work in the maternity ward will go out in a matter of weeks. However, Brown says adjustments must be made to some departments before they can receive the new equipment. Those decisions will be discussed during meetings next week. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
A firestorm of controversy fueled by allegations of cronyism surrounding the Bahamas Agricultural and Marine Science Institute. Once again, the minister with responsibility for the premier school is setting the record straight with regards to contracts awarded. Janaea Noel Ferguson has details.
The Free National Movement alleged that BAMSI contracts have been awarded solely to people who have supported the governing Progressive Liberal Party. Fort Charlotte MP Dr. Andre Rollins recently raised the matter in Parliament, alleging that the former PLP minister Darrell Rolls' company was granted a contract because of his political alliance. Minister with responsibility of BAMSI, the Honorable V. Alfred Gray, however, had strong words for members opposite.
When the F&M gave contracts to their supporters, Rollins, who just joined them, and the F&M establishment, you don't hear a word about it. The press don't seem to care either. But as soon as some supporter of the government, or perhaps perceived supporter of the government, whether they be Darrell Roll or any other person, there's a big to-do. It has nothing to do with money well spent or otherwise. What they do not want us to do is to help people who support us, but that's going to be a lie. We're going to do as much as we can for the people who support us, because hadn't it been for them, we wouldn't be in power today.
Gray said that the granting of contracts for BAMSI were awarded to those within the community to spur economic growth in North Andros.
Both Darrell Roll and Reverend Sam Green are both from Andros. And so when we ran out of contractors in Andros at the time, there were some people who lived here, needed to work, and we gave them the opportunity to participate. If that's wrong, then the whole Bahamas is wrong, because every government from the days of government gave contracts and assistance to people who are necessarily able to do the work.
Members opposite have also suggested that it was ironic that the former PLP minister's company was formed right before the BAMSI contracts were issued.
As long as it was a duly registered company, and if they had to form it or they did form it, what's the issue? If they say it was a shell and it wasn't properly formed, that's another matter. But if it was a properly formed company and the company was able to take advantage of an opportunity which presented itself, what's the big deal? Now, if they say that the work that these people do are not up to standards, that's something we need to look at. But they can't say that. So now they're saying you give it to people who are either your supporters, and what's wrong with that? Ask the former government who is Mr. McIntosh in Freeport, who does everything in Nassau for the government. I'm not going to call any name, but if they push me, I will. These are the hypocrisies that bother me.
And with repeated calls for all BAMSI contracts to be tabled here in Parliament, Gray says the opposition will be hearing from government on these matters pretty soon. Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Another Grand Bahama resident has found himself before the courts facing multiple gun possession charges. 47-year-old Edwin Dudley Barrett, reportedly the owner of an import business in Grand Bahama, was charged with 25 firearms-related offenses, including possession of an AK-47 pistol, ammunition, importation of firearms, and conspiracy to import. Prosecutor Clifford Daxon objected to bail, citing the serious nature of the offenses. Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt deferred the question of bail to next Monday, telling prosecutors that they would have to present an affidavit to establish the basis of their bail objection. Both sides agreed, and Barrett was remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections until that time. This is the fourth Grand Bahamian to be charged before the court since last week in relation to weapons charges. As the search continues for 26-year-old Orman Leon, his sentencing hearing continued in his absence today. 2 weeks ago, the convicted murderer escaped custody while being transported from the courts to the Department of Corrections. He made good his escape in the East Bay Street area. During today's proceedings, Justice Bernard Turner noted that the court has not been formally informed that Leon is no longer in custody. He also invited both sides to give submissions on whether Leon's absence is an aggravating factor which should be considered during sentencing. Prosecutor Darnell Dorset and defense attorney Terrell Butler will give their submissions on the matter on Thursday. Leon is facing up to 60 years in prison after being convicted of the murder of Francisco Hanna back in 2011. The prosecution has closed its case in the triple murder trial of Sean Knowles and Timothy Saunders. The two are accused of killing Edwards Brennan, Shakara Ramming, and Erica Ward, who was 8 months pregnant at the time. The shooting took place in an apartment on Montgomery Avenue 5 years ago. The victims reportedly lived in that area. During today's proceedings, jurors heard from 2 police officers, including Police Constable Brian Stubbs. The officer testified that he was on duty at the Central Police Station in August of 2011 when there was a big disturbance in the cell block. He testified that he and another officer went to Sean Knowles' cell, where he was found with a razor in his hand, threatening to kill himself. The officer said Knowles tried to slash him as he attempted to open the cell door. In an effort to control Knowles, the officer said, there was a scuffle and Knowles received an injury to the nose before being taken to hospital for treatment. Meantime, defense attorney Ramona Farquharson Seymour suggested the incident never happened, but the officer maintained that it did. The trial continues before Senior Justice Stephen Isaacs. Investigations continue into a murder which took place yesterday afternoon in an inner-city community. Our Jared Higgs was on the scene.
A shooting during rush hour traffic has left a family mourning. Head of the Central Detective Unit, Chief Superintendent Paul Roll, spoke to the media on the scene.
Police were called to the 5th Street area in the Coconut Grove to report of a traffic accident. Officers responded to the scene and upon arrival noticed that the driver who had crashed into a wall was suffering from gunshot injury to the head.
It's believed that the man was shot while he was driving from the Wilson Track area, eventually ending up on 5th Street.
Our preliminary information is that the individual was seen driving a champagne-colored Toyota Camry west along Coconut Grove Avenue at a high rate of speed, and he turned south where he collided into the wall.
And with the sounds of loved ones crying in the background, Chief Superintendent Roll made his usual appeal to the public. The CDU chief says throughout the course of the investigation, police hope to understand the circumstances that led to the young man being shot.
We're not certain as to where and how he came by his injuries, but we appeal to anybody who would have information that they're able to provide to us to make that information available to the police and help us to solve this homicide here this evening.
A video of the victim slouched over in his vehicle after the shooting is making the rounds on social media, prompting outrage and calls for police to investigate charges of tampering with evidence. Jared Higgs, ZNS Network News.
The search continues for 2 culprits police believe to be responsible for a shooting incident last night which left a man hospitalized in serious condition. Police say just after midnight they received reports of a shooting on Blue Hill Road near Independence Highway, and when they arrived on the scene they found the victim with gunshot wounds about the body. Now authorities are appealing for anyone with information to call them with that information. They believe the suspects may have been driving a black Honda Civic. Police also need your help in finding 2 hit-and-run drivers who may be responsible for causing the death of a 29-year-old. The victim has been identified as Craig Duncombe. It was apparently a freak accident. The victim was riding his motorcycle on Bahamas Boulevard when he lost control and crashed into a tree. According to police, as a result of the impact, Duncombe was thrown to the street. That's when the drivers of 2 vehicles apparently ran over him without stopping. The 29-year-old was taken to hospital with serious injuries and later died. Investigations are ongoing. You can also reach them toll-free at 242-300-8477. You can also check them out online at www.crimestoppersbahamas.com. Let's stop the crime before it's your time.
At a time when hope seems lost.
So I'm able to talk to them and point them the right way and let them know that there is still hope.
When just a little love will do.
Man, they're so sweet. Oh Lord, and people like me, man. We need the funding, the finances to be able to do more for these people.
And struggle is an everyday reality.
I kind of like sympathize with them because I know how it feels to go days without eating.
I wanted my kids to see that there was another side to this country that most people never see.
In the heart of it all, one place offers help.
When I see them leaving with a smile on their face, I say, well, he was a help to that person.
We want to show them how it's impacting these children and these young adults.
It's a side of society that we rarely pay attention to.
If a man is not working, a father is not working, he needs help. And that's what we do. We help persons who need genuine help.
It's a 3-part series that takes a closer look at an organization that's making a difference for struggling Bahamians lost in the cracks. Mission of Hope, this week on The Bahamas Tonight.